It's really good to have you here with us. As
Hey,
it was
thanks
mentioned,
for
I'm
having me.
Carol. I'm from Rock on Board.
Okay,
Besides being a reporter, I'm a super fan, so it's an honor to be here with you.
thank you.
I wanted to start by saying congratulations on the 40 years of Helloween. It's such a milestone and what a journey it
Yeah,
has been.
31 years, 31 years for me.
Wow, that's a lot. That's so nice.
Yeah,
If you could sum up this
unbelievable.
journey as just one image, what would it be?
Well, probably a mixture of airports and concerts. So, yeah, we feel like sometimes like 50% of the time is somewhere at the airports in some lounges and waiting for the next flight. But that's part of the game. I remember, I think it was Keith Richard who said, the question was, how does it feel to play with Rolling Stones over 60 years or something like that back in the days? And he just answered, well, you should rather ask, how does it feel to live on airports? And I completely understand. I mean, it's sometimes really, travel is sometimes really hard because mainly when you come off show and you get out of the concert hall at like 2:30 in the morning, and then you take a shower, and at 6 o'clock you have to get up to catch the next flight. It's sometimes hard. It's not every day like that, but very often it kicks you into the balls and you go like, oh, what the fuck? What did I do with my life? You know?
I can imagine, but it must be worth it, right?
Yeah, it's all fine when you're up on stage again, but you know, it sometimes is hard work to get there.
I can imagine.
And
Yeah.
then you have 3 hours fun, and it might quite be that they kick you in the balls again, and you have to be at the airport because there's no other flight, blah blah blah. And you're like, you know,
Yeah.
it's
That's the
sometimes hard.
glamour we don't see in the behind the scenes, that it's not
Yeah,
that it's
it's
glamorous.
sometimes you have some time. So when you have off days or something like that, then it's definitely great because you can be a friggin' bloody tourist and just look around where you are and have a chance to get to know where you are. But very often you come into new cities that you never played before. And very often you don't have time. You just, yeah, you arrive at the airport, you have a drive through the city on the way to the hotel, and that's what you actually see. And the very next day, early in the morning, you have to leave. I mean, this is so sad sometimes. But yeah, fortunately, there's like lots of cities where you have a chance to get like really comfortable and get to know the people, get to know the cities. And but yeah, it's 50-50. You have to live with it. But it's not all glamorous and gold here. Definitely not.
For sure. And back in the days, have you ever imagined that you would be celebrating 40 years on the
Oh,
road and releasing a new album 40 years later?
well, honestly, it hit me by surprise because sometimes like a year before that, like last year or beginning of last year, the management was actually telling us, okay, we're gonna do now this 40 years Halloween celebration, and everybody, like me, myself included, certainly was like, oh, really? 40 years? What the fuck? You know, it's like, really? You don't think about that actually, because when you're at home, it's most of the times 90% of my time concerning music is hobby. It's hobbyism. When I'm back at home, I can't play my guitar. I write my songs. That's my hobby. And I don't think about 40 years or 30 years or whatever. Yeah, you're just doing your hobby shit. It's just cool. And somebody kind of forces you back into reality and then tells you, oh, by the way, next year's 40 years world tour. And you go, whoa, how old are we? Shit, you know? Yeah.
But this means it was good. Otherwise, the time flew by. I mean, it's a good
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, everybody has the same feeling in his life. I mean, you don't necessarily need to play in the band to actually wake up one morning and go like, "Oh, fuck, I'm hitting 60," you know? So everybody will hopefully have a chance to witness that. So I always look at it from the bright side. The longer you are on the planet, the longer you were allowed to live life and enjoy life. Just don't forget to enjoy it. But I think waking up one day and realizing I haven't lived a life, that's hard. So not having enjoyed every day. wherever you can enjoy, if it's only 10 minutes per day sometimes, I enjoy it and I remember it, you know. So even in the stressiest times, there's still somewhere a corner in that day to enjoy. But most people miss it. I'm including myself. Sometimes I go like, oh, fuck. I mean, this was a day for shit, nothing, you know. And I'm really disappointed then, and try to get myself to enjoy wherever I can for the next day. But probably everybody's like that. We forget to celebrate the moment. We tend to forget it, and sometimes you look back even a whole week kind of lost in the nirvana, and you really didn't live that week. It's just like that automatic robot 9 to 5 jobs, which I did back in the days, and you just fall into bed and sleep, and the very early morning you have to get up again and go to the job again. And if you are in that hamster wheel, it's very easy to forget to enjoy, to live the moment. So yeah, it's not easy. We always have to remind ourselves to learn it again, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's the secret to enjoy it. And
if there's a secret, try to enjoy. Sometimes it's hard, but carpe diem as much as possible.
yeah. And well, speaking of the album, we have Giants and Monsters coming out in 2 weeks, right? And hearing the new tracks, we can notice kind of a new side of Helloween.
Or kind of an old new side.
Not missing the trademarks that we are used to. How would you describe this new album emotionally compared to the 2021 album?
I would have to describe it like one of my first interviews. It was a guy from the US radio show, and he said, actually, it's like the old mixture of the Capa 2 album. I was like, okay, explain. And he said, yeah, back in the days when he was young, he grew up with the Capa 2, and later on he bought the Capa 1 because he loved it. And for him, it was all about this diversity, this roller coaster. You had like all these great metal tunes, speed metal tunes, very demanding, lots of frequencies and lots of informations per second. And then there was always a song, like a hard rock metal kind of song, which let you breathe a little bit and get back for action again. And then the next song was trash or speed metal again and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, from this perspective, I've never looked at it at the new album, but he may be right. It's that positive roller coaster, speed metal, some rocker, speed metal, breathe, some rocker, speed metal, ballad, you know, like on the Keeper albums. I don't want to actually compare it. He did not want to compare it musically, but I think he's right with every respect. For an album listener, so let's say for the people end of 30 to old, they are used to listen to albums. They are used to buy a vinyl or CD, put it on, lean back, and enjoy the whole album. And for them, I think it's a perfect album. It's got that nice roller coaster thing. And he's right. So I would love to actually copy his answer.
It does make sense, yeah. I read it in an article that you previously described this album as being lighter, more playful, with fewer heavy layers. How did you manage to strike this balance between this sense of freedom and the usual intensity that Helloween has?
Well, not on purpose at all, because actually it's because we had like 23 great titles on the table and did not know which songs to choose for the album. So we just gave it out of our hands and gave it to the management. There are some Helloween fans working, fortunately, in the management. And I think that's the perfect thing. I mean, let the fans decide. And so these 5 guys were actually banging their heads about which song has to come onto the album. And they found this mixture, and we all thought it's because one song we changed, but overall it's that mixture they chose. And we were happy. All the songwriters are there. So nobody is actually pissed off because, oh, I've written so many songs. No, it's all good. And still, as I mentioned, there are another super great 13 songs at the sideline. So we could go into the studio tomorrow and record a new album. It'll be kick-ass album. A little bit more brutal, a little bit more speedy than this one, but it'll be definitely a good album. The only thing, I think I have to write a ballad for the new album then. Maybe.
Yeah, let's see. Hopefully we'll see this soon.
Yeah,
and you
because
mentioned about having every songwriter there. This is something that I was gonna ask you. With this expanded lineup, having 3 vocalists, 3 guitars, how do you organize this creative process? Does it flow naturally? Does it require negotiation?
yeah, it depends on. I mean, it's sometimes double or triple work. If we talk about the guitars, sometimes it's triple work because Michael Weikert has his idea, Kai Hansen has his idea, Sasha has his own idea, and at the end of the day, sometimes you end up recording 3 different, ideas, you could say. Maybe sometimes you can combine it, perfect world, but most of the times I have to say it's nearly impossible to combine 3 different ideas in one song. So that's maybe 5% where you really go like, okay, that fits together, and in the middle you got the other, okay, yeah, cool. And it's harmonic and it works. That's only a little bit that works like that. Most of the times you have to decide, okay, Sasha's idea is better than Weiki's, or Weiki's is better than Sasha's, or we take Kai's idea and then split it into 3 guitars. But you have to have a main idea. You have to have a main plan most of the times. So otherwise you end up with jazz, and nothing against jazz, but I don't like jazz that much. So no. So I have to listen to something and go like, yeah, fuck, hey, that's really cool. So even when it comes to my own songs, then there's even a 4th guitarist, and I consider myself then having a voice in that too. And when I write my song, I more or less want to decide what I like most. And this works flawlessly. That's never a problem. And I have to say the boys are super cool with that. And everybody goes like, okay, then we go with whatever Weiki's idea, and let's work on it. And that's something I really love about them, because even when I present my songs, and I really try to do great guitars on my demos, but I always have that great experience with the boys that at the end of the day it sounds even better, even though I spent days and days to arrange my guitars and shit like that, but they still do it better. But that's why they are the guitarists and I'm the singer. Nevertheless, all good. And between Michael and myself, Michael Kiske and myself, this time we decided, okay, you know what? Michael sings the whole album, Andy sings the whole album, and in the late afternoon we come back to the studio. We've been at the beach, and decide if we like it or not. 90% was perfect, so they cut. The producers decided who is Michael and who is Andy. Sometimes they combined us and we sang both because they thought it's great. We thought it's great too. And there was like 10% that Michael didn't like, I didn't like that much. So we just decided to call Kai and tell him to sing it.
Fair enough.
Oh. Oh, he was happy. He was happy to have something to sing as well. So yeah, love that idea. So it sounds funny, but actually he was honored and said, "Oh yeah, fuck, cool, yeah, let's do it." And he's a good singer. I mean, the problem with Kai is he cannot sing longer than, let's say, 20, 25, 30 minutes maximum during a show, because his voice would fuck up very, very quickly.
Oh, I think beyond that, you also work with 3 drum kits in this album, right? It's rather unconventional. How did it come about, and how did it shape the mood of the songs?
Well, from a technical point of view, if you record, let's say, with a big friggin' great sounding full drum kit, and you play the same drum kit for speed metal, then it's too thick. It's got too many frequencies, mainly in the bass drums. So everything is booming, 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 booming. So there's no real separation between the kicks, because they are so quick. And if the frequencies are too wide from the drums, you only hear a big woof, but you cannot really hear the separation of the single kicks. It's too many informations per second. So what you have to do is you compress them to death, you equalize the shit out of it, and take away the kick, the subs and the basses, the nice bass floor of that kick, to make it be separate a bit more. So actually you have to kill the whole vibe of the drums. If you had the chance to play actually 3 different drum kits, you could actually from beginning on decide, okay, this is a song which is much more open, it's much slower, so not so many frequencies battling against each other. So we could use the biggest drum kit here because it has place to shine. And if it's a mid times, then you take a mid-sized drum kit, and if that's like the real speed metal going on, you take the smaller drum kit, which doesn't mean it's small, it's still as big as the others, but it's got a smaller sound, a more definition sound. And that's what we did. I mean, Danny, the drummer, he's a collector and maniac anyway, so he was happy to hook up his 3, you could say, favorite drum kits. He must have like 100 drum kits in his drum hall. I mean, he's crazy. But nevertheless, once in a lifetime, we wanted to have a little bit of that luxury of the people who make electronic music. They have like 1,000 kick drums and 1,000 snare drums at the tip of their fingertips. So they just choose it in the very second you have another song and another sound in the song, which makes them lazy, in my opinion, but it works. So far, the people don't complain. They love electronic music. That's yeah, okay, that's their shame. But nevertheless, we wanted to have that in the real world, like 3 drum kits, analog recorded. And if something would still be too fat, you would have the middle size or even the smaller drum kit, and you could just say, okay, I like that sound more, switch the drum kit, here we go. So it's a luxury problem.
Yeah, so here, unfortunately, our time is it's coming up. But
No, don't you worry. We still have a little bit more time.
Oh,
that's the problem.
Great then. So I know that there's this track called "Into the Sun" that it was originally rejected for the album in 2021, but it's now on this album. What changed in that recording that deserved the spot this time?
Well, I have written that song, and when we recorded the Helloween self-titled album, we recorded Into the Sun 5 semitones deeper, because that was the idea of the production team. It sounded like a good idea that the people had a chance to sing along, but it lost so much. I mean, the high-pitched vocals is so important for Helloween. That's what we realized later on. Everybody was totally in love with Into the Sun. And you listen to the song then 5 semitones lower, and everybody was going like, yeah, it's still a great song, but now it's a song that could be Bon Jovi, or that could be Adele even, or something like that. It's not Helloween anymore. We have to get back to high-pitched vocals. So I'm super happy actually that we decided not to put it on the last album, but on this album. This version is so much more shiny and the way it should be. That's how I wrote it actually originally on the demo. I love it to death. Now even more with Michael singing along with me. It's, yeah, now I love it. That's the way it should be. And I think in the future, I just don't want to listen to the producers anymore. They don't know what they are talking about. Just kidding.
And we were discussing that, well, Helloween has 40 years of career, so you have fans from all the different generations. How do you consider these fans? Do you consider them when creating new material and their different background? How this new album connects with all these generations?
Yeah, it gives you some freedom, actually. It gives you some bigger ballpark where you are allowed to play and write your songs. In that ballpark, you may even have some new metal influences, not too much, but you have the chance to do that without being killed or sentenced to death because you betrayed metal or something like that. Um, at the end of the day, it has to be power metal. It could be, as you see, I mean, even power metal has ballads, even or even power metal has more low parts in their arrangements. In the middle of a speed metal song, you could go completely down to a ballad feeling and go back gloriously into the speed metal again. So there's not lots of music styles where you're allowed to do that. I think power metal is one of the most open metal styles. We could go actually and have growl parts and like really brutal. What's the word for it? How do you call it? Metalcore or whatever. I mean, we could bring parts like that into our music, and nobody would be astonished and go like, "Oh, what they're doing," because we're allowed to do that. I think 40 years of metal allows you to do everything, unless you leave metal. So it needs to be in the metal ballpark. And I'm a guy who actually loves everything as long as it's hard rock. Sometimes slow rock, if it's a ballad or something like that. That's something I do listen to. Okay, honestly, after a ballad, I need something speedy again. But yeah, I'm a rocker with everything that is combined with rock. That could be a ballad, that could be metalcore, that could be a down-tuned song, as long as it's in the power metal area and we do some double basses and shit like that next to it. I love it. It would be boring without double bass because I'm so used now after over 30 years with these blokes doing this music. I'm super used to write also double bass music, and I love it because you can think in more genres. You could actually write a ballad, like for example Wyke did back in the days. He wrote a ballad called Eagle Fly Free. And look what happened. You just put like a double bass under it and go crazy, but it's still the most beautiful melody. And in the refrain, it's just power metal now, but written as a ballad. Or the same he did with How Many Tears. It used to be a ballad, you know. So you're allowed to do that, but nobody forces you to do that. And I think that's a great ballpark of creativity. So I really enjoy that.
That's amazing. There's this other song in the album that you guys already released that's called This Is Tokyo. It sounds like a true stadium anthem, and I heard it's a special tribute to a country that played an important role early in your career. How did you come up with that idea, and what it was like to revisit that feeling?
Well, the idea was born in 1993 after the second Japanese tour, and I have to admit that without Japan, I would probably never have had a career. Super important back in the days because through Japan, we suddenly ended up being successful musicians who maybe it would have taken years to get to that point of being that successful as we were with Pink Cream 69. Maybe it would have taken years without Japan, or maybe it never would have happened without Japan. So, and for me, it was like this culture shock back in the days. I really loved that. I learned that there are different cultures, like completely more respecting nature, respecting their surroundings, respecting their neighbors and all that stuff. For me, that was new. As a bloody German, you just actually care for yourself mainly, and probably your neighbors are the biggest enemies and all that shit. You know, it's like I don't know. In Japan, it was completely different. I can tell you one example. My first show in Japan was in the Cheetah Club, which is a club that has 2,000 people capacity. And we walked into the club. Everything was super nice, super clean. Everything was like, wow. I mean, really like with a toothbrush, clean. And it was like very impressive, super clean. Now the show was great. And then after 1 hour 45, the people left the concert hall. And when everything was gone, I went into the concert hall and looked at the stage and realized, wow, it's nearly cleaner as before. This was like, I could not imagine that people are like that, like really taking up their shit and taking care of that the people who come next have the same clean surrounding and environment. I was fascinated. It was like, wow, okay. I loved it. I really loved it. I mean, I'm definitely not a Japanese, unfortunately, because I catch myself sooner or later to do some stupid shit where I always remind myself a Japanese guy would now go back and pick up his shit. And very often I do that. I go like, okay,
Well,
so I have a little bit of Japanese education in my blood now, and I'm pretty proud of it because that means I'm even I'm even a guy who down there at my beach. I mean, I sometimes nearly every second day, actually, I have a stroll down to our beach. Takes me half an hour. And when I see some plastic bullshit or bottles are lying around at the beach, I really pick them up. And that's in my blood now. And I think that's cool. And I'm not the only one. There are lots of people who do that meanwhile. I'm super happy to see that. Also tourists who normally don't give a shit. But I've seen tourists who go like, okay, shake their heads and bend down and pick up trash here, pick up that trash there. And I think, okay, there's something happening. At least here on the island, I can see that people are more aware and really go after, yeah, let's put it that way, really get rid of the shit of others.
yeah.
And it doesn't hurt. It's really, actually, it's a good feeling. So, and this is something I learned from Japan also.
Is there something that you learn or some memorable memory that you have from Brazil as well?
Brazil. Yeah, I had that same story with a colleague of yours. We talked about Rock in Rio, and I said the last Rock in Rio, besides that it was a great show,
Yeah.
but what you never realized and nobody knew is that Michael Kiske and I were really running for over 30 minutes to finally get to the stage because the responsible people did not open the door for us. So there was these guys at the main entrance to the backstage area, and even though our driver shouted, it's like the singers from Helloween, they're on stage in 15 minutes. Or no, it was 45, and they're on stage in 45 minutes. He didn't let us pass. I mean, I don't know what that guy, I mean, on drugs or whatever. So we had to actually drive around half of the festival area to get to the other side of the backstage entrance, which took forever because the traffic was so tense. There was stop and go kind of thing going on. And like Michael told me, look, Andy, we're never going to make it. We're never going to make it. And I said, okay, you know what? Let's take our trolleys and run. And that's what we did. So we left the car and we ran. And it was hundreds of people going like, Michael, Andy, blah, blah, blah. And we just like, we have no time. We have to go on. And believe me or not, our boys were already on the way to the stage when Michael and I just arrived at the backstage tent that we had. So we just kind of changed the t-shirt and went on stage, completely soaked, wet all over the place. But the people didn't realize it. So we went just right spot on. And like 15 seconds later, Michael started I'm Alive. And I had to sing as well with Michael the second part of the verse, also I'm Alive. So, but Michael had like 20 seconds less time than I did.
Wow.
That was brutal. That was brutal. But now, in retrospect, you have a laugh about it. It's like funny, but the situation itself was not funny at all because it's like 200,000 people waiting for you, and you're stuck in traffic. And the responsible at the gate, at the backstage gate, did not let us in. I mean, imagine that. I
Yeah,
mean,
and that show was memorable. It was a really good one.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what happened with that guy. I mean, that guy must have been completely on cocaine or something like that. What an asshole. Uh, yeah, but we made it. Show was great. People, I think, loved it. Was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next time you come, you won't have these issues again, and the
Well,
other
next time, if we play Rock in Rio, we already we were picked up like 3.5 hours before show,
Well,
and it didn't work. 3.5 hours was not enough time. So next time, I told Michael, well, let's go 5 hours before that and have like a relaxed hour or so before the show backstage and cool. But I mean, 3.5 hours was not enough.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
Rio.
yeah, I can imagine. Wow, that's crazy. And it was so nice speaking with you. Thank you
Hey,
so much
likewise.
for your
Thank
time.
you for
I
having
hope to
me.
see you again soon in Brazil. We are hoping to have this tour here.
Yeah,
And we are excited for the new album.
thank you. All right. See ya.
See ya.
Ciao, ciao.